the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Shadrach, Meshach, Nebuchadnezzar had conquered Israel and had taken captive all the Israelites and packed every good thing they had. In the process, Nebuchadnezzar considered how he would disciple the nation of Israel. And one of the suggestions they made is that they should look for amongst the Israelites those who seem to be intelligent, those who seem to be brilliant, those who seem to want to learn, those who are pioneers. Because you see, even in those days, they believed that readers are leaders. So they gathered people like Daniel, they gathered people like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And all they did was, he told them, give them our food, give them our wine, give them our literature, leave them alone. They would copy us. Once we can give them our learning, we can give them wine, we give them food. So the people planned that they must worship Nebuchadnezzar because he was the strongest king at that time. So there was a decree that went out that everybody at a certain time must bow in worship to a man. And these three men, decided to defy the decree. So in 16, they said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They said to the king when they were caught not worshiping, they said to the king, "O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer you. We honor you, we respect you. We're even careful to answer you about this decree that has been made. Because you're king. So we don't want to disrespect you." It means that what they said was in consonance to what they had in their mind. They were not bragging. So you notice that those words were not bragful in nature. They were not boastful in nature. They were a statement. It was a statement made on conviction. They had a conviction that does not dramatize itself to show off. It was a conviction deeply embedded in them. It was a conviction that they had built up over time, irrespective of the fact that they were in captivity. And so they were invariably saying, whether he comes or doesn't come to our rescue, we've made up our mind. And you need to understand this, that it was not 1,000 worshiping Nebuchadnezzar. It was not 2,000. It was not 3,000. It was not 4,000. Because the children of Israel left Egypt with over 3 million. It means that 3 million would have multiplied. It means that all of Israel, apart from these boys, and possibly Daniel, were worshiping Nebuchadnezzar, including the people of that nation. Imagine with me if all Cross Riverians were out to worship the governor now, and then suddenly there's just only 3 in the whole of the park that says no. Out of 3 million, only 2 said we can. So you see, it wasn't a popularity contest. They were not speaking because others were speaking. They were speaking for themselves, not because they wanted to be heard. They were compelled to be heard. Because when they refused, they asked them why. And they said, no, we won't bow down to no man. We won't bow down to no system. We won't bow down to any thinking that is not God. Even if it looks good, as long as it is not righteous, I ain't talking about it. I won't bow down because you said the economy won't work. I won't bow down to your belief. If it doesn't work for you, it will work for me. If they don't favor you, it will favor me. If Cross River State has nothing, I prophesy he has something for me. If you will not be promoted in Cross River State, oh my God, oh my God. It means that the economy can be bad, but for me, it is always good. And they said no to this man because of something that was inside. I began to ask the Lord, what was inside? What was inside of them? And the Lord said, let me show you two things, or two. I'll just share only two this morning. He said two things. One is that they found out that their purpose on earth was tied to God. One. Number two, they found out that God delights in them, whether he comes or not. They don't need the validation of a man, the validation of a woman, the validation of a pope, the validation of a bishop, the validation of the pastor. They don't need a mother's validation or a father's validation. They had already validated themselves in themselves to know that whether you think God loves me or not, it doesn't depend on whether he's doing something for me or not. I am completely convinced that God, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. He so loved the world. I told you the other day, some time ago, that the word so loved the world is cosmos. It's adorning. It's ornament. And who is the world's ornament? God. Says it's you and me. How do you know? Because after God created man, he stopped creation.